Welcome into the lounge presented by DraftKings. We are joined today by safety Chuck Clark. Thanks for joining us. And we'll start here. So the Bengals last year, they talked a lot of smack after those 2 wins they had against us. This year, Joe Burrow, 217 passing yards, and most importantly, a dubs. How good did that one feel?
Man, that one felt great to get. Like you said, it's just a lot of smack talk going into it.
Right.
So, I mean, just to go out there and play a sound game on defense, and pretty much play lights out for real, that felt good.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious, and I posted this on Twitter yesterday and got a real mixed opinion from fans. Like, that game kind of had the feeling of some old Ravens-Steelers games, right? Like, it was just kind of this slugfest back and forth. There's, like, a little hostility in there. There's smack talk involved. Like, it just had that feel to me. And now we've had a lot of good games with the Bengals over the years, too, right? So it's been a rivalry for a long time. But, like, does it feel different? You have Burrow and Lamar. You have these young, good quarterbacks who are going to be there for a while. Like, does it feel a little bit different? Like, it's a heightened rivalry now?
Yeah, it definitely felt different, especially with all that happened last year,
Right.
And just like this, the podcast talk, that video going to stay around forever, and we're going to see those videos, you know what I'm saying, when they tag us or something, we see those, and,
right.
You know what I'm saying, it's out there. So, I mean, you got to stand on that at the end of the day, and so I think that definitely builds the tension that comes with it, and then Sunday Night Football, so that's a heightened aspect too, so for sure.
Mm-hmm. How have you, kind of sticking on that for a second, like, how have you seen the rivalries change over time? Because I think it's easy to say, like, Ravens-Steelers, it's the best. But then, like, Titans kind of, entered that mix. Going back to when I first started here, Ravens-Patriots, was as good as any, I think. And now I think Ravens-Bengals has elevated a little bit. What do you make of that?
I think as players come and go, you know what I'm saying, and different players experience the situation, like, I was part of the team that was here when they came and knocked us out in the playoffs at home, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, okay, the players that's on the team, you remember that, But then another guy that might have not been on the team, you know what I'm saying, that tension, that rivalry might not carry over. You'll hear it through story, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so for me, like, back in the past, early 2000s, it's stories that you heard of, but that tension might not be there with that team, you know what I'm saying? So it is with other teams when you actually get to experience or feel that pain, you know what I'm saying? So then when you come back to that team, then it's like, all right, it's there. So that's probably why I feel like that, like the shift and change a little bit.
Yeah, makes sense.
So it wasn't just a good game against the Bengals for the pass defense. I mean, the week before, Josh Allen held him to 213 yards. That's pretty good against the Bills and Josh Allen. What do you think has kind of turned things around for the secondary the past couple weeks?
I think us just getting back out there, having time together, we ain't been out there all together on the field at once. It was over a year almost. So
right.
Just getting time and getting games and reps, in practice is one thing, but the game reps is so much different than practice. So I think just getting that time out there together and, just bonding and gelling and just getting stuff better for real.
How important is that? Like, I think it's a lot of times guys point to communication and familiarity and chemistry. Like, those are all buzzwords that kind of get thrown around. But it sounds to me like it is, like, you need to have a feel for the guys that are next to you in order to be successful.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Not giving away too much, but, it's been stuff where I might have messed up, and then my teammate, like, I know he got my back or something, or he might have messed up, and I got his back, and it's just one of those things, like, I know, you know what I'm saying? I can feel where you at on the field, and you can feel where I'm at, so there's those type of things for sure. Yeah.
Is part of that having your kind of two stud corners out there in Marlon and Marcus? Like, I got to believe that's part of it.
Definitely. And like I said, it goes back to, being in 2020 with both of those guys, 2019 too, stuff that happened back then, you know what I'm saying? And then you got away from it for a little bit, but then it's coming back and it's like, all right, bet. Like that connection, that bond there,
Right. It seemed like Marcus getting back on the field and back to like 100% now in the past couple weeks makes a big difference. I mean, just the juice that everybody felt from the
yeah. Nah, it's great having Brad back out there for real. Like, I'm so happy that he out there just balling, healthy, and like that play that you talking about, like we seen the picture, and I was just like, how he get his leg so straight, and his other leg bent like that. But I mean, hey, I'm glad he back out there for real.
Yeah, I mean, that dude's a dog. I mean, does his energy, you feel like, really kind of rub off on the rest of the secondary?
Definitely. I mean, he get us going, you know what I'm saying? And you could just tell, you could feel. But I mean, it's everybody. You know, if it's something to be said, he gonna let it be known. You know, and I
Right.
mean, if you're not on your job, like, all right, let's talk about it. You know what I'm saying? So definitely, you love his spirit, his energy when he out there, what he bring on the physical side and the mental aspect.
It seemed like you guys really had kind of a gelling, bonding moment even after that Dolphins game, right? I mean, it was reported that there was a players only meeting after that, and kind of to work through that, right? I mean, that was a painful moment. How much do you feel like that process and going through that can help you in the long term?
I think going through that is good for us. Like at the time, it was early in the season. I mean, it's
Right.
still kind of early in the season too. But I mean, we was just able to go in there and sit down and watch it. Like, well, we had a bad game, you know, and it wasn't the whole game either. It was just a couple things that happened here and there,
Right.
and just us not all being together. And it's like, all right, now you can see where we can learn and we can grow. And you know, come 10, 12 weeks down the road, that was something very small in the road. You know, a small
Right.
bump in the road.
Right.
So going into last week's game, Marlon talked about how the cafeteria will humble you with the TVs that are on there when they show things like, 32nd in the league and Good Morning Football or whoever else is talking about it. How much do you pay attention to those TVs in the cafeteria?
I mean, you try not to look at it, but I mean, that's really all that's on down there for real. If they had Martin playing or something down there, I'd rather that for real. But yeah, I mean, you see it, and shoot, you be like, hopefully when they get to showing the little commercials, you see the little highlights, you like, all right, I ain't know they're getting juked. All right, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, but I mean, you definitely see it, but I mean, at the end of the day, it's like, it's all right, whatever, on to the next, you know what I'm saying? It's out there, on to the next game, trying to get better at something else, you know?
Does anybody ever call for the remote? Hey, Manny, where's the remote, man? We got to switch the channel on this thing.
I mean, nah, it ain't never got like that. Nah. Yeah.
I know that you guys, this is a talented secondary with a lot of veteran players who've done a lot of good things in this league. And when you have an early season, struggles like the Miami game, is there like a real sense of pride? Like, look, we all know we're better than that. Like, this is a good group. This is a really good secondary.
Right.
And
There's
like,
so much talent in this secondary that it's better than that.
Right.
yeah, like, is that kind of a uniting moment, I guess, to a certain degree that, like, all right, we're better than this, and now it's time for us to go show it.
Yeah. I mean, when you put all our names down on paper, you like, dang, we got that many dudes in this room. And then sometimes when you see some of the stats on paper, some of the things that happen, or some of the highlights, as a person yourself, you're like, dang, we way better than that. You know what I'm saying? Then as a group, we go out there and we in the meeting room and we talking about it like, we know we better than that. You know what I'm saying? We probably the best DB group in the league. You know what I'm saying? On paper, pound for pound. You know what I'm saying? So it definitely like spark us and get us going for sure. Because we like, yeah, we way better than this. Like,
Right.
I mean, what's on tape or whatnot, and some of the things that have happened.
Right.
So you suffered a tough blow on Sunday when Marcus Williams goes down, and obviously he was playing at such a high level, and he's fun to watch, man. I'm sure it's fun to be next to him. How tough is it to lose him? And at the same time, how ready do you think Geno is, along with Kyle Hamilton, to step into that role?
I think it's tough losing any part on the defense, So when you lose a guy like that in the back end, like we just talked about, everybody high-level guys back there. But when you lose somebody, it's tough, But, I mean, I think the way we, like, practice and the way we study film, the way we attack it, it's like – the next person you expected to step in there and be like a starter. I mean, that same situation kind of happened to me back in 19, and it's like, we not slowing down, we not stopping for you to catch up, you know what I'm saying? So I'm excited for Geno and Kyle, you know what I'm saying, for both of those guys to get going.
You're ahead of me. You're one step. I was just going to say, like, does this remind me of 2019 when Tony went down and you stepped up and obviously played well and kind of grabbed the bull by its horns? Like, is that how you look at this opportunity for Geno and guys?
Definitely. It's like you the next man up, and like I said, ain't nobody slowing down, ain't nobody stopping. It's like, all right, we know what you can do.
Right.
We seen you do it in training camp. We seen you do it in OTAs. I mean, we seen him do it in games before, and it's just time to go out there and prove it to everybody else. And I know how he probably personally feeling. He like, man, everybody down me. Yeah, all right, watch this. You
Right.
know what I'm saying?
Right.
Watch what I'm about to do. So, and I just can't wait to see what happens for him and his career moving forward.
Sorry, just to backtrack a little bit. I'm curious because Harb said that Marcus dislocated his wrist like earlier in the first half and kept playing with it, which is kind of mind-boggling to me as a guy that's kind of soft.
You would have a dislocated pinky. You'd be like, yo, I'm out. Bring me out.
Gonna continue to come out. Did he say anything to you guys on the sideline, or like, did you know he was playing? Like,
Yeah, no, I knew. I mean, I don't. It happened on the first play.
first play of the game?
So, I mean, I saw him get up and like grab his hand, and like no, most times, you know what I'm saying, you see a guy like, you know what I'm saying, grab something or someone after a hard hit or something, you're like, you all right, you straight?
Yeah.
And they kind of like hit you with a little, I'm good, keep it moving type thing.
Right.
But like I could see, like, I'm like, damn, nah, he hurt, you know what I'm saying? So he kind of came to the sideline, I could tell. So, I mean, that sucks. It's just a sucky situation for real.
Yeah, that's kind of hardcore,
But I mean,
though.
shout out to him for real, though, because he really kept playing like the whole first half for real. I think he got a couple tackles in it too, and like you watch him on film, like he wrapped the guy up and he falling, and like he not trying to put his hand on the ground to like brace himself for real.
Wow.
That's tough.
Yeah.
Wow.
That is so going back to like your story and stepping in 2019 to the starting lineup after Tony Jefferson went down. Do you talk to like Geno Stone about that? Does it need to be said?
Nah, I really ain't even, you know what I'm saying, brought that up really to him. It was games last year when Geno stepped in and like pretty much played like a full game. I mean, against the Chiefs last year, he came in when somebody went down, and so I mean, he's been in those big moments. You know what I'm saying?
He played the Steelers game. He picked off Ben.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. So he's been in those big moments, and it's just like at the time you're not a starter, but you sitting back on the side and I know what I can do. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I've been there before. I've been there where he's at, and it's like, man, I know what I can do. Wait till I get my opportunity. I'm gonna take it and I'm gonna run with it. So I know I ain't gotta say too much to him for real. He's gonna be locked in for sure.
It's kind of funny too how you remind me, your backgrounds kind of are similar, right? You're a 6th round pick out of a major program at Virginia Tech. He's a 7th round pick out of a major program at Iowa.
Right.
Kind of got to wait a couple years to kind of get your turn, and then boom, you never know. You know? What stands out to you about Geno as a player?
I said that he always around the ball, and he just always stayed with it. You know, I think his rookie year, I think he had ended up getting cut, and he went down to the Texans. You know, and they brought him back, and just like those type of things, they could probably mess with a person. You know what I'm saying? He's like, dang, I got cut from the team that drafted me.
Right.
I mean, he just stuck with it, and he's still being consistent, still balling, doing what he got to do. He's still here. He's still standing.
Yeah. So you're known for your film study. That's a major part of your game. Can you just talk about your weekly preparation for a game?
My weekly prep for a game.
Yeah.
Monday, I mean, I'm definitely in the cold tub, hot tub, you know, getting back right.
His body prep.
Yeah, definitely getting the bumps and bruises off. But try to watch a game or two on Monday and then start attacking it, you know, just different things that you might have seen. Like, all right, how did we get beat this past weekend? Like, what happened? You know what I'm saying? What is the other team seeing? You know what I'm saying? What are they seeing on film? Like, I'm watching them.
So it's a self-scout
you
kind
know
of
what I'm
very
saying?
early.
Yeah, when you say watch a game or two, are you watching one of your old games or are you watching one of the
No, one of their games that they play. You know what I'm saying? So, okay, this week we playing the Giants. So they played the Packers last week. Go watch that game. Go watch the Bears game. So like a game or two, you know what I'm saying? Not getting too carried away with it or whatnot. But yeah, just that, and then like trying to see, all right, where did we mess up? Where did we lose? Like, where did we give a big play? You know what I'm saying? Because that's what I'm looking at when I watch it. Like, all right, how did they get a big play? So they probably like, how did we get a big play on us or something? You know, what run was hitting? You know, something like that.
And by the end of the week, how many hours would you estimate a film that you're watching?
I don't know. I ain't gonna say nothing crazy. I ain't gonna say because like I ain't gonna lie for real though. About Thursday night, once that Thursday night football game come on, it's like, all right, if you ain't got it by now, you ain't figured it out. I don't want to start watching too much. You know what I'm saying? And seeing too much, you see too much, then you ain't gonna see nothing. You know?
Right.
Interesting. About Thursday, I'm like, all right, trying to lay back on it a little bit. And at this point, like I said, if I ain't got it, then I ain't got it. You know, I know, of course, they gonna put in some different wrinkles for us. Like I said, that's why you see what did y'all mess up on that week. You know, it's gonna be some different stuff for sure.
Right. So there is a little time for Netflix and chill.
Yeah, definitely. I got 2 kids. Yeah.
Obviously, big time. I mean, you're one thing that always stands out to me, and I think everybody inside this building, Chuck, is that you're just a pro's pro, right? Where does that mentality come from, and how do you approach the job?
I think honestly, where I went to college at, you know, Virginia Tech is just that's probably like the mindset there is like blue collar work ethic. You know what I'm saying? Just staying with it every day, and I think that just kind of stayed with me, you know, and that's just always been me, you know, trying to do what I got to do, you know what I'm saying, and let everything else fall in place.
And you're kind of, you know, personality wise, like more of a chiller guy, you know.
Yeah.
So it's not Ray Lewis style leadership, right?
Yeah.
But like, you know, I imagine a lot of it's lead by example. But like, you know, have you ever thought like, do I need to be more vocal? As hey man, leading by example. That's just the way I'm going to do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I always say that like I'm more a leader by example, you know. But on game day, Marcus always be messing with me. He be trying to throw me up there and make me talk. And I mean, I ain't got a problem with it. You know what I'm saying? On game day, I'm turned up. It's whatever. So
Yeah.
I mean, definitely. You know, if it's something that need to be said and I feel like it got to be said, then I'm gonna say it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I ain't gonna shy away from it. So I mean, I ain't got a problem with it. But I ain't day in and day out. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
All of that, nah.
You're gonna be in the huddle with one of these. Yeah. So it's always interesting. I feel like in Baltimore, more people pay attention to the green dot conversation than I feel like other cities
Yeah.
and other teams. It's like
we're obsessed with it.
I feel like
Reporters are obsessed with it around here. And
That's
fans.
crazy. Because like when I first got that and when that happened, I was like, dang, they like talking about it a lot. You know what I'm saying? But then I think about other teams like dudes that I know, and like one of my boys I play with at Virginia Tech. He played for the Raiders now, and he got it. And I seen it the other night on the when they played what was it, the Monday night game, the Raiders Chiefs.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, he got the green dot, but I mean, I ain't hear about that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like I feel like it definitely is mentioned more here for
yeah.
sure.
Is he a linebacker or a safety?
Yeah, he played linebacker.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think part of the reason I think that it's talked about more here is that it's more often a linebacker that wears it.
Yeah.
Are there any other safeties that you know in the league that wear it?
Man, I seen a couple DBs like it started happening like I think it might have been 2 guys last year. I want to say what's his name? John Johnson for the Browns.
Okay.
And I think J-Ron Curse had it down in Dallas.
Okay.
So I did see like 2 others, and that was like the first time I had seen it last year. But just like the other day, we was in practice, and JPP was like, yeah, I got to find you after the play. He was like, because it's the first time I ever seen a DB with it. And I was like, that's crazy. Yeah, you really don't see it for real.
Interesting.
And was that like when you like that you kept it this year, was that like significant to you, like that you were like, I want to keep it? Like, is it, I guess what I'm saying is like, is wearing the green dot something that you care about?
I don't know. I think I care about it like I care about it from the point of like it helped me get ahead of the play, you know what I'm saying? And,
Okay.
and I can keep saying it to myself and reminding myself. So like I hear it, they'll say boom, boom, I tell everybody boom, you know, and then like I'm still saying it in my head to myself. So I'm like, all right, bet I know what this is on this play, you know. But it is a little different sometimes when it was back in training camp OTA, somebody else had it and they say it, you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, all right, I heard them say it one time, I'll go do it. Hey, what you say? You know what I'm saying? And so like that, but that's how it be to me too though. I be out there and I say it and whatnot, and then dudes be like, what you say?
Interesting.
Man, I said it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
I'm like, man, hear it the first time. You know what I'm saying? But then I was like, when the role was flipped, I was like, okay, I get it. I understand.
Right,
Yeah, that's actually probably helpful a little bit.
Yeah.
You kind of see like how it goes for the other players. That's,
Yeah, definitely.
I like that we started this line of questioning by kind of making fun of ourselves for asking so many questions about the
now I'm
and then
actually
you asked it,
curious.
like,
but I'm
2
actually
follow-ups
got
about
a
the green dot. You've fallen into the green dot trap.
the green dot. You just follow down that rabbit hole. You never know where it's going to lead.
Yeah.
So just talking about your mentorship, obviously, you know, Kyle Hamilton comes in, we have a rookie first round pick. You know, there's kind of the expectation of, you know, that the veterans will mentor him. What's that process been like for you?
I think it goes back to how we was just talking about a minute ago, like what type of leader are you? You know what I'm saying? Vocal or by example. And I mean, it's definitely times where we talk and you like asking me stuff about the game. We've talked about some stuff about off the field, life stuff, you know what I'm saying? And so when we chop it up but I feel like I said, I just feel like I'm more of like by example, you know what I'm saying? Like whatever you're going to pick up and gravitate to, I think that's what you're going to do, you know what I'm saying? But it's definitely been those times and those moments for that, you know what I'm saying, on the field and off the field stuff for sure.
Right. I've said this a couple times, and now that we got you, you can confirm or tell me I'm an idiot. Usually I get the latter. I feel like safety has to be, like, behind quarterback, let's say, the hardest position for a rookie to come in and play immediately. Just because there's so much thinking that happens, like, and it has to happen really fast.
Yeah,
a lot of diagnosis. There's a lot of like just route combination awareness, all that recognition.
Yeah.
Do you agree with that? Unbiased. I know like everybody thinks their position is the hardest, but like,
I mean, from the mental standpoint, yeah. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, other stuff, physical standpoint, you know, you go play corner, you might got the best wide receiver in the game, you know what I'm saying? So from the mental standpoint, yeah, because you might mess up and say one wrong thing, and you got somebody over here playing this and somebody over here playing that. So and naturally the safety position is you pulled to be a leader. You know what I'm saying? That middle linebacker, you pulled to be a leader of the defense because you have to talk and you have to say stuff. So you mess up with one thing, and then we on different pages on different sides of the field, you know. So yeah, I think so.
Right. How much have you enjoyed kind of, your role has continued to evolve under Mike and stuff, and you end up you play a lot of time like linebacker. How do you kind of like that adjustment?
It's cool. The way I look at it is I just think I'm a football player, You put me wherever and I'm gonna make it happen. I'm gonna do what I gotta do. So, and that's just how I always been. Like, high school, play wherever, college, played corner, played nickel, played safety. Then I got to the NFL, kind of did the same thing. So I just feel like, it don't faze me, it don't really bother me. It depends on the, what's going on that week. You know what I'm saying? It's definitely different, but I just think I'm a ball player, and wherever I'm at, I'm going to get it.
That's what I noticed the other day from the press box. I think I said it to you. I don't remember what hit it was, but you just came up and just put a smack on somebody, and I was like, that's Chuck, man. Chuck just comes up and staples people. Like, it just seems like, that, whatever. It's some guys get known as like this ferocious hitter, but you just are a very good tackler.
Just be consistent.
Yeah.
You ain't got to crush your body. You know what I'm saying? Like,
that's what ice tubs for, huh?
I seen some dudes that, they hit too hard. They messed themselves up. You know what I'm saying? So it's definitely those times where you can, smack people for sure. But I think just being consistent, getting them on the ground, you know what I'm saying? Get up to the next play. A tackle's a tackle.
Yeah.
So this week, you're going up to New York. You're facing the Giants, and you talk about tackling. You'll be tasked with tackling Saquon Barkley, who has made life difficult for defensive players this year. What are your thoughts about going up against that offense, and particularly him?
I think if you say for particularly him, last time we played him, we didn't get to play against him. You know what I'm saying? So, this would be good for us, to go against a guy like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, everything that he brings to the table, he could change the game at any moment, you know what I'm saying? Anytime he touched the ball. And so we look forward to this challenge, though. This offense, they down a few guys, but we definitely not sleeping on anybody because, at the end of the day, it's the NFL. They getting paid over there, too.
Tony Jefferson's on the other side now.
Yeah.
So you exchange any text messages with him this week?
Nah, I ain't talked to TJ this week, but I need that jersey, that Giants jersey.
So that's gonna be the jersey swap after the game.
He got 36 over there too, so I need that. I gotta get that.
All right.
I wonder is there going to be a competition? I imagine a few guys that play with Tony.
They might have to bring out like 10 jerseys for him. When we played the Patriots, Judon had hit me up, and it was right after the game, and he's like, "Yo, I need that jersey." And I was like, all right, bet. So I'm in the locker room. Then he started messaging me, sending me more names. Like, tell such, I need that jersey. I need that jersey. So I probably got about 5-6 jerseys.
So you had to go around and collect them?
No, I ain't go collect them. Like, they had did it and whatnot. And
got you.
Got it over there to him. Yeah.
I thought he was using you as like the trade merchant.
Yeah, he was just like, hey, go let him know. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
What is it going to be like going up against not you're going up against him, but is it going to be weird seeing Wink on the other side? Like, obviously, he's a guy that you know so well, and you spend a lot of time together.
Right. Yeah, that's definitely going to be different. Just going back full circle when we talk about 2019, that's pretty much the guy that had called me that week when everything changed, and he's like, listen, it's time for you. It's your time, you know what I'm saying? I've seen you, boom, 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 like, you know what I'm saying? So he pretty much, like, put me on, you know what I'm saying? So, it definitely is going to be a little different, like, seeing him over there on the other side. But at the end of the day, I know he want to win, and I know I want to win, so I'm out there to go get the dub. You know what I'm saying? Like, all that's gonna go aside until after the game. You know?
How do you compare and contrast he and Mike McDonald?
How do I compare and contrast? They both from the same system, so you got that. But compare and contrast. See, now you're trying to start something.
The personalities are a little different. Mike's not a chain popper.
That's what I'm saying. Different personalities for sure. You know what I'm saying? One a little more turned up, one a little more relaxed. But I ain't gonna tell you who is who. You know what I'm saying? You don't know because they both got their times. You know.
Right. Yeah. All right. Last question from me. I know you don't have to worry about this being on the defensive side of the ball, but how many times will Wink Martindale blitz Lamar and the offense?
Man. Hey, we need to be ready. That's all I'm gonna say. I've been on that side. We got to be ready.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Chuck, thank you so much, man. I know you guys will be ready for Sunday. Can't wait.
Appreciate y'all having me for sure.
Thanks,
Definitely.
Yep. right, good stuff from Chuck. We also want our listeners and viewers to know that the sports landscape's always changing, and this week is no different. DraftKings is the leader in daily fantasy sports, and it still has daily fantasy contests running for those who are looking to have skin in the game. So it's simple. Every player has a salary associated with drafting them. You assemble a lineup, you try to stay under the salary cap, and then you sit back and you watch your points pile up. So now you know how to play. Download the DraftKings app today and sign up using the code FLOCK. New users get a free entry with their first deposit. Again, the code is FLOCK at DraftKings. So thanks again to Chuck. Look, you said it. You called him a pro's pro, and that's exactly what he is. I think in every kind of level of his game, film study, on the field, off the field, interviews, like he's exactly the type of pro that you want.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I thought it was also interesting kind of the outlook that they have losing Marcus. You know, I mean, that's a big loss. That was a big free agent signing, and he's gotten off to a hot start. And Chuck's kind of like, you just see from the demeanor, you know, it's like, yeah, obviously you feel for Marcus, and it's not good, but like, you know, feel like we'll be all right. You know, the expectations are high for the next guy coming up. And, you know, I think the Ravens are high on Geno Stone, too. You know, they think that he's a starting caliber guy. Like, they felt like in training camp that they had like 5 starting safeties.
Yeah.
You know, and so we're going to see. And Geno, he really does have a nose for the ball. Like, it reminds me of Chuck in so many different ways. Like, Chuck kind of had that and showed that early in his career. Just in preseason games, you would notice him around the ball a lot. And I remember in what year was it? I guess it was 2016 even, I think. I remember he came in late against the Chiefs in a game. There was an injury, and he came in, and he got a pick on Mahomes late in that game. And it just kind of like Geno's shown that in preseason games. You know,
Geno, he had 2 picks in one of the preseason games.
Yep.
So like,
and in practice, you see it. Like, he just kind of has that nose.
Well, I think it's also interesting, like the player perspective here from Chuck. Like, he has been that guy, and that's like his point. Like, I have been that guy, late round pick.
Yep.
Special teamer. You got to kind of claw and scratch to keep your spot on the team, and then you get an opportunity, and he sees it, and then he gets a nice contract, and he's been the starting guy ever since.
Right.
So, like,
and you kind of have that chip on your shoulder like that. All right, bet. You know,
exactly. Like
here we go.
This is my time. I'm going to go and do that. So I think he has confidence in Geno. And, like, look, I have confidence in Geno, too. I think replacing Marcus Williams is going to be a real challenge.
Yeah.
Just so listeners and viewers know, John Harbaugh said that it's not a season-ending injury.
Yeah, which is great news
for him, but it is going to be a significant amount of time. So we're looking at, you know, he did go on injured reserve, so he's going to be out a while. Don't know exactly how long.
Right.
Yeah, he's playing with a broken wrist the whole first half. Just keep doing it, right?
Maybe not. I mean, like,
that's
that was
crazy.
Crazy. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, I even noticed it on the Hayden Hurst when he scored the touchdown. Like, Marcus came, and Hayden's a pretty big dude to try to take down, and like trying to take him down with one arm, tough. Yeah. You know, so props to Marcus for playing through that. But I think certainly, you know, a little time off, and at least if the Ravens are making a playoff push late in December, whenever he comes back, like, it's great news that Marcus can come back.
Yeah, totally. So this week it's the Giants, and I think when a lot of Ravens fans saw this game on the schedule, you know, when you start doing the wins and losses in April, given how the Giants went last year, this is one that you say, okay, that's a win.
Right.
Well, the Giants are 4-1.
Yep.
And they've been really good. They're coming off a big win over the Green Bay Packers in London.
Yep.
They've got a new head coach who seems to kind of have changed things there.
Ryan
Obviously,
Daboll.
Wink Martindale is the defensive coordinator there. He's new there. So that team is a much better team than I think a lot of people expected coming into the season.
Yep.
Saquon Barkley is proving that he probably is the best running back in the league, one of, and is playing at a super high level.
Yeah.
So, not an easy task by any means this week.
A lot of it, I think, centers around Saquon. You know, if the Ravens are able to play well against Saquon and kind of limit him, you're not going to shut him out, obviously. Like, their whole offense runs through Saquon. I mean, Saquon leads the league in all-purpose yards. He's second in rushing. Their offense, I mean, he dominates the carries. Second is actually Daniel Jones. Saquon has about a little more than twice as many carries as Daniel Jones, but he runs a little bit. Daniel does. He's also got the second most targets on the team as a receiver, and he's only trailing a guy, Sterling Shepard, who's now hurt. So, like, he might be their leading pass-catching option as well. The whole offense goes through Saquon.
Yeah, I mean, there's not too many players that find themselves in this situation, but, I mean, it's not it's not unexpected if he gets 30-plus touches in a game.
Definitely. Right, which is kind of unheard of these days.
In these
as a
days, like
running
most
back,
running
right.
backs are getting
It's a platoon situation.
Just about every team has that.
Yeah.
Nobody has, except for the Giants, really has a situation where you have a running back that you can just give the ball to 30 to 40 times a game.
And that's why you and I both have Saquon on our fantasy teams. This week, obviously, a bench him situation. Obviously.
Of course.
Obviously.
Of course.
But back to real football. I do think that's the challenge.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting because the Bengals did have some moments in the game where they had success on the ground, and Joe Mixon found some holes, and P. Ryan actually found some holes.
Right.
And
That's
so
been the surprising thing is the run defense hasn't been as dominant. Like the defensive line for the Ravens, I think, is really, really good. Now, obviously, you lost Michael Pierce. That chips away at that. But, like, that was one of the team's strength, if not the biggest strength. You know, we all talked about the secondary, and then a couple weeks in, you're like, this defensive line might be the strength of the D. We're going to see that. That's going to be put to the test this week. And I think, giving up 100, and I think it was 103 or 101 yards to the Bengals on 21 carries, that's about 5 yards a pop. That's not great. I think part of that was the way the Ravens were playing defense in that game. It was too high safety. You don't have those safeties crashing down to stop that run quite as easily, right? So I think this week it's a different kind of game plan. Those safeties will be around the Chuck, will be around the line of scrimmage a little bit more, shutting down the run game.
Yeah, well, of course you want to stop everything. You want to stop the run game. You want to stop the deep shots. You want no yards.
Exactly. The Ravens picked their poison. Right. They picked the deep shot. They're not doing it, and it worked. That strategy worked.
And Joe Burrow said after the game, basically, like, if teams are playing us that way, you just can't really push the ball down the field for those big plays.
Yep.
And so the Ravens eliminated
the
those.
Ravens dictated the game kind of defensively. They dictated how the Bengals were going to play.
Yeah, so different game, different opponent. I think it'll probably be a different strategy.
Exactly.
This week. And then, the Wink Martindale factor for the Ravens offense, I think, is an interesting one.
Yes.
It's one of those, he knows the offense, Ravens know his defense.
Yep.
The very simple way of looking at it is, okay, he's the blitzing guy. He's gonna turn up the heat. That's what he's known for. But does he change? Does he change his approach this week? Does he know that the Ravens know that?
Ooh,
so
he knows that we know that he knows that we know, right?
Yeah. So where does the buck stop?
Well, yeah. The interesting thing about that is, obviously the Ravens kind of struggled handling the blitz last year, especially the cover zero blitz that Wink loved so much, right? So when Wink was the D coordinator, the last thing he saw from Lamar Jackson this offense is Miami game and the struggles, right? But I'm sure he's doing his research and watching film and sees that Lamar has been slicing and dicing that blitz up, right? So it's like, what's he do? I really don't know. I really don't know what direction. My hunch is that, the tiger, it's hard to change those stripes.
Right.
Or is it a tiger or zebra?
It's a lion.
Have stripes
it's a
too.
bear. It's a bear.
Tigers have stripes? Why not? What, you think tigers can just change their stripes?
Yeah. It's a... The saying is a zebra doesn't change the stripes.
I never get sayings right. This is par for the course. I got that one right, par for the course.
Yeah, well done.
Thank you. So that zebra ain't changing those stripes, probably. That's my hunch.
Yeah.
That we'll still see a fair amount of blitzing.
What about the tiger?
The tiger, those stripes will just get wiggly on you.
No, I would agree. I think that, like, there's probably enough body of evidence that shows that, like, if it's 3rd and 7, it's 3rd and 5.
Probably
in the
no
second half in a key one-score game. I think Wink's going to turn up the heat and he's going to blitz.
Yeah,
like
but he'll have some kind of like little wrinkles in there.
Of course.
Like he saved that for the Chiefs, the kind of delayed like drop, OA into coverage, and then he comes on this like ultra delayed blitz. He'll have some. I am sure that Wink's been working on this game plan for a little bit of time.
Yeah,
and he will have some wrinkles.
Totally.
So the Ravens just have to adjust that. And I think they've done a pretty good job of that this season.
Yeah, all right. So let's read an email here. As always, you can email us at thelounge@ravens.nfl.net. And we try to get to as many questions as we can. This one comes from Todd, who is in Richmond. It says, why isn't Nick Boyle playing more? I thought he was going to be an important part of the offense this year.
Yeah, well, I think, really they just, the fact of the matter is they like and think that Josh Oliver is offering more at this time. And I think the past couple weeks, Josh Oliver has played pretty darn well. Just came off a really strong game in terms of his run blocking, which I think was, the first couple games it wasn't particularly great. He's improved in that category and really kind of earned those reps, So even as Nick has gotten healthier, Josh has played better. And the Ravens just feel like he offers more right now.
Yeah. And I think that, like, as the Ravens get some, like Gus Edwards, I don't know when he's exactly going to get back on the field, I think it'll be interesting to see if Nick ends up taking on any larger role. If Gus comes back and they're looking at more of, Gus is the hammer in this running game, and does Nick fit that a little bit more? I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
Also, as Nick continues, as the season goes along, does he continue to get healthier from the knee injury that has plagued him for the past couple of years? I think that the basic answer is that that knee injury is really tough, was really difficult, and Nick has talked about that, and so that's been hard to overcome, and he's still working his way back from it. I think that he looks way better this year than he did last year.
Yep.
But there's other guys have elevated their game too.
I thought it was interesting. I talked to Nick in the locker room one day, just he and I said to him, he lost all that weight. He lost a significant amount of weight, and I asked him whether he's had to change his game up as a result of that. And he was like, honestly, yeah. Like, when he was kind of bigger and before the knee injury, obviously the knee injury impacted that. Like, he could just kind of just hold a guy off with one arm and keep him at bay, right? And now being a little bit lighter and, he's still putting up good numbers in the weight room, he said. He's still, like, strong. But being a little lighter, he says he just has to, like, move his feet more, and there's more effort required in blocking for him now at this weight. Now, the flip side and the good reason why it was good to lose that weight was that it helped him and his knee, right?
Yeah.
There's just less of a load on that knee, and it helped him recuperate and all that stuff faster and easier, and his body just feels better, right? But as he kind of is admitting, it was a bit of a trade-off, and I think he's just going to have to get used to playing at that high level with a different body.
Yeah. All right. So last thing before we wrap this up. Good news, some good news on the injury front to go along with the bad news of Marcus Williams, but good news on the injury front, and that Tyus Bowser and David Ajabo returned to practice this week, both of them coming off torn Achilles.
Yep.
Bowser suffered his in the season finale against Pittsburgh in January. Ajabo suffered his during the draft lead-up in March. So, look, I'll be honest, I was surprised when I saw the transaction come through, and both guys are going to be practicing. I think that's a great sign for the rookie Ajabo, who, I think some Ravens fans probably felt like, maybe is this a redshirt year? I know the Ravens said he's going to play, but is it really kind of a redshirt year? What can you expect out of him?
Yeah.
The fact that he's practicing here at week 6 is a great sign for him. And all of a sudden, pass rusher that everybody's been nervous about, JPP is looking really good.
Yep.
Always turned it up a little bit the past couple weeks, and then you get these guys coming back. That could end up being, when everyone's on the field, Justin Houston could be getting back soon.
Yep.
Could end up being a strength.
Yeah, totally. This pass rush is rounding into form. I think the Ravens have felt like this was around the corner the whole time. It was just like,
how far is the corner?
Exactly. It was just kind of like, can we get there?
Yeah.
Right? It was like, can we keep hanging on, and playing a lot of reps with these guys? And OA and Houston was playing a lot of reps early, and now JPP's playing a ton of snaps. And it was kind of like, can we hang on long enough until the reinforcements come? And now they're coming, right? And it's just every week is almost like, Wednesday is just like a great day because it's like, ooh, what gift do we have under the tree this week? Like, what player is going to return to practice this week, right? Like, is it Dobbins now? It's Stanley as full participant. Like, every week, it's just every week, like, injuries and who's coming back and who the Ravens are unfortunately losing. It seems like the biggest storyline every single week.
Yeah.
I mean, the crazy part is, like, I was just thinking about this morning. For as much as the Ravens' health has improved with all these guys coming back from last year, they lost three of the 4 biggest free agent signings that they made this season are now on IR. And Marcus Williams, like we said, isn't lost, but then you add in Michael Pierce and Kyle Fuller too. That's 3 big additions that the Ravens made in free agency that are all on the shelf right now. That just stinks.
Yeah, but we're not going to end on that note.
Yeah,
we're not going to end on that note. The positive note is that Bowser's coming back, Ajaba's coming back. So Gus is now entering his second week of practice. So the natural question is when you see these guys on the field. I don't know. I mean, I think certainly it depends how they play in practice.
Yeah.
Also, Ronnie Stanley played limited snap count, only 22 snaps compared to 43 for Patrick McCary.
Right.
I would expect to see Ronnie, his playtime increase over time.
Yeah,
certainly
sure.
It depends on how he feels. He said he felt pretty good coming out of the game, but a little soreness.
Right, he played about a third of the snaps. I don't know. Does he play 2/3 of the snaps this time?
Right.
I don't know that he's going to jump to 100% immediately, but I think that certainly he'll have more, and whatever share that looks like, I think it could be significantly more.
Yeah, and then Gus, who knows?
And on Ronnie, just side note, this is kind of an important part. is he played really well.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, like, he looked like Pro Bowl All-Pro Ronnie, like, played very well, and that is a really great sign.
Yeah, that's most important.
That is the most important.
And now you just hope that he's playing more.
It's the health and playing well. Those two things are both important.
They're married.
They both came together, you know, and we'll see this week how his body feels and responds.
Yeah, totally.
But back to the pass rush real quick. Losing Marcus Williams, like, you lose that ball hawk, leader, and with 3 interceptions on the team. But when you add the pass rush, like, now you have this chance of still creating turnovers, which has been a big part of this defense early in the season, right? Like, those two things, pass rush and coverage, are married.
Yeah.
And so I think that the Ravens defense still can create havoc once they are getting more pressure on the quarterbacks, which is, has been a problem in some games this year. It's been good in others. But once you get those dudes on the field, like, look out, man.
Yeah, and as we spent time talking about earlier, Geno Stone does have a nose for the football. So
right.
if
you're getting pressure, that nose, it's like Pinocchio. Nose gets
That's a terrible analogy. You're just full of bad analogies.
It's like a tiger getting his stripes and that tail gets longer and you get more picks, man. It all makes sense, right?
It's exactly right.
That makes
You nailed
no
it.
sense.
You nailed
Anyway,
it.
Get ready for a big out of nowhere. The big tiger, zebra, whatever you want to call it. It's going to be a big win.